Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, everybody, Charles here, and welcome to another great show. I'm excited. It's February. You know what's going on, Black History Month, and I couldn't have a show without bringing on some fantastic guests to talk about Black History Month, tell everybody how I'm so excited, and you should be excited too. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait, give you a few minutes, tell a friend, tell them we're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, every platform there is. Tell a friend we are on live happening right now. And if you're listening right now, put in the comments where you're calling in from. We're going to have some Q&A afterwards. We want to make it fun for everybody. But I can't do this show without a co-host. So let's bring them on. Abby, where you at?
I am here. How are you? I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me and having us.
Abby, how you feeling today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
You're looking fantastic. I love the hair.
Thank you. This thing?
Well, maybe we can talk after the show. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. I feel like I like to protect myself. My hair and my big glasses kind of like make me a little bit myself.
Nah, your personality is fantastic, and everybody's is going to get to see it just now. So a little bit before we move on, tell us about you. Give us a little background about yourself.
I am a Canadian for the past 33 years of my life. I've been here. I moved in from East Africa, so I'm Somalian Ethiopian. I've been here. This has been my home for the past 33 years this year. And I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I own my own business. I do makeup. I'm a stylist and just living the dream.
That's where I'm talking about. So before we go on, what does February mean to you personally?
February means to me that it's something that always been, since I've been to this country, that I wanted to educate everybody that Black history is not just Black history for 1 month, it's the whole year, and we're Black every day. So for me, Black History Month, just to emphasize the excellence that what Black history means to all of us. And it's not about history, it's part of everyone's history.
I love the way you said that. 24/7, we Black 24/7.
Well, you cannot change that.
Love it.
I wish we can flip, but ain't gonna happen.
This is how I was gonna roll today. I love it already. All right, but listen, I'm not gonna keep anybody waiting. We got some fantastic guests in the green room, so I'm gonna pop them on, leave it up to you, and you can have some fun with them. You ready?
I'm ready. Thank you.
All right, let's do this. I'm gonna flip the script right time because I don't usually have a lot of gentlemen on the screen with me. So I got to bring this guy on first. I'm sorry, ladies. I know, but
know what I mean? Amazing.
I got to bring him on first. And ladies, you're going to thank me. So let's go.
Yeah. Hello. Charles, Abby, good to be here.
Great. How you doing, buddy?
I'm so happy you're here.
You're honestly doing great.
Michael, we know each other for a while.
Yes.
I will let you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think you're an amazing human. So go ahead.
So again, Charles, thank you so much for having me here today. And Abby, thank you for inviting me for this conversation. My name is Michael Challenger. I was born and raised in Montreal, so I do speak a little bit of the French, but I'm residing in Toronto, and I'm the founder of a company called Optimal Living Summit, which is a health and wellness agency. The agency consists of 28 experts, and what I do is I solve problems. So I go into either corporate businesses, or if I'm dealing with somebody on one-on-one, we are there to help with mental health, occupational wellness, anything to do with really understanding people's goals and leadership. So we take care of a gamut of things, but it's just great to be here today to talk about Black History Month because it's important, and especially just to really make sure that we highlight some of these amazing leaders that we have on today.
Can I say more than that?
Well, let's keep it rolling. We have another special guest in the green room, and here we go.
Hello, Miriam. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and we'll start from there.
Hi, Charles. Hi, Michael. Hi, Abby. Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here once again. My name is Miriam Balogun. I'm a Black entrepreneur. Grew up in Africa. I was born in the United States, but grew up in Africa. I'm the founder of Power Up Your Brand Consulting, an organization where I help brands and individuals create more visibility for their brand. What Black History Month means to me is a month where we can showcase our resilience, and it's also a month where we can we get to be able to acknowledge our African history and heritage. But as Abby said, I mean, we're Black, so we live Black every day. And as for me, someone that came to Canada from Africa, we don't specifically celebrate like a specific month, but I understand that when back here in the diaspora, we have to celebrate the history of the people that come before us and Black excellence.
Okay. And my first question to all of us, it's
Hold on, one more. We got another special guest popped up on the screen. She's here. So let's go. Here we go.
hello, Dr. Merlin. How are you?
I'm amazingly well now that I see you guys. I hope that you're feeling wonderful.
We're all feeling great, and it's amazing for you to be here with us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I would like you to introduce yourself.
Wow. Well, I am an educator. I run a private career college, Ontario College for Development Training. I also have accountability for Inspiring Life Solutions, where I do transformation coaching in many niche areas. I also have the Destiny Foundation, which is an NGO where I look at empowering and educating community and also provide services for community as well. Among many other things as well, I run the Afro-Carib Creative Arts and Culture Center, because I know that as an educator, it's important that we step up to the plate to build that important legacy of value for our Afrocentric children. And those children born here of first generation and second generation, and they are remaining invisible, Black and invisible, because we are not doing enough to make sure that we educate for change and we repurpose the education services sector.
True.
I also belong to ONAPSI, Ontario National Alliance of Black School Educators, all right, where we are looking to make sure that we can, right, ensure that the BIPOC population, right, that population is seen and heard, all right, because we cannot continue this way. And therefore, I have my mission, my destiny purpose to make sure I can garner as many people as I can, because yes, we are doing little pockets of things.
True.
But one of the problem is that we are not coming together.
You're right, and that's one of the questions.
Collective voice.
You're right, and one of the questions I was about to ask is: was education, was the government part of the education we can help for our children? And I can ask you answer some of those topics. Michael, what do you think?
So what's the question specifically?
The question is specific education. What can we do to improve the education of Black history in our schools?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, again, one of the biggest things, I think, as Dr. Marilyn Morris was talking about, is being able to get in there and making collectively coming together to make a difference. If we, and it starts internally, right? So education is obviously something there is a, there are protocols, there are things that, there's mandates that people follow. But at the end of the day, it takes collective voices to make a change. So in order for the education system to change, we as a people need to come together to make sure that those changes are happening within the actual education system.
Miriam, same question for you.
Well, I would say it's incorporating diverse aspects into certain curriculums. I was super excited to see that the Ontario government had decided to incorporate learning more about the African history into the curriculums of, I think, the grades 8, 9, and 10. So yeah, we can definitely start there, start incorporating more into the educational system.
And same with you, Miriam, still with you. I want to ask, did you go to school here?
I would say I did a little bit of college here. I did high school and let's say my BSc back home in Nigeria. And here I think I just kind of like did certifications here. So I did a
And
little.
what's the difference between the experience you had back home in Africa and here has education parts?
Okay, so I would say that here there's a little bit of more opportunities as with regards to education. With back home, we have a little bit of resource, and then we have this whole window of people. So everyone is trying to get that education, but there's not enough space for them because we have a very large population. Nigeria is the most populous African Black nation. But back here, there's that opportunity to be able to really be impacted by what is being taught, because there's enough resources.
Michael, I have a question for you personally.
Yes.
You were born in this country. You were born
Yes.
in Montreal.
Mhm.
From then to now, what do you see the transition of Black History Month or just being a Black young man growing up in this country?
I think that there's been a lot of, what I can speak to is basically, when I lived in Montreal, I actually lived in the United States for quite some time. I lived in New York. I went to middle school in New York City, and there was a massive, massive difference with the curriculum that was actually that was in from Montreal and in the States. We need to, again, implement more of Black history within the curriculum so that kids, not just Black kids, but all kids understand what we have contributed to society and to the world. So it's, in terms of change, I think there's definitely, again, there needs to be more improvement. There needs to be more people speaking up. We need to use our voices in order to see the changes in the system.
And one of the things I'm going to put an input that I noticed growing up here is that we learn a lot about the American history, the Black history in the States, and we don't learn a lot more about the Canadian Black history part, Black Canadian who contributed to Black Canadian history. And I think we need to start talking about more the Canadian Black side instead of just talking about, which is great to talk about Martin Luther King, but let's talk about our Canadian Black excellence first. And I think something as a Canadian person growing up in this country, I wish we learned more growing up in this country. And I know Dr. Morrison has dreams and goal in the education, and I would like you to continue with your goal and dreams for that.
Okay. I'm excited, when I hear the Minister of Education now touting the need to include Black history in the curriculum. But it's not only a collective action we need, right, based on parents, teachers as well, and ensuring culturally relevant pedagogy in the schools. All right. So we have to now look at a education paradigm which looks at all the strategic partners in upskilling them, all right, so that they know what they ought to do, because our children are getting into the school system with their lived experience and their culturally relevant experiences as well. And we need to retrain our teachers, all right, in ensuring that this classroom space is one that considers, right, the education of our teachers so that they can ensure that every child who comes into that classroom, be it a Black child or otherwise, because we live in a multicultural society, and we need to ensure that the training and the lived experience of every child coming into that classroom is recognized.
Black
right?
history.
How are we going to do it? So we need to have the collective voices of all of us together, and what I call unity in diversity. All right. So it's not only our Black children alone. We need to ensure that they have a platform where they understand other children in other culture that they have to share a classroom space with.
True.
And what about the parents? What about our parents? We need to engage them as well. It's an integrated approach to a new change the Minister of Education is talking about. Is it good? Just imagine just having only for the Afrocentric people when they have to live with other cultures?
No.
And we
And
talk
that's
about
part of the
diversity
community. And I
and
think
inclusion and anti-racism.
that's one of my questions. What's the responsibility of everybody in this country to encourage the education of Black history? Michael, you can go first.
I think here's the biggest problem. We have to look at I think when we talk about community, it's about taking responsibility about our community, and that starts with dialogue. That starts with communicating with one another, understanding what the internal problems look like, so that we can actually present it to the different various communities. Because at the end of the day, if we don't communicate clearly internally, then other people will not understand. And so we have a job, and this is for me Black history, because I know that the question was, what does Black History Month mean to you? I didn't necessarily answer that question. What it means to me is it's about, we understand what we went through. We understand that there are people who have paved the way for us to have new opportunities, but it's also our job to really to create a new narrative around what Black history actually means. And so that actually takes work from our people to celebrate what Black excellence looks like. And that's what every single day, it's being the example so that more people are invited, because I invite people to see what Black excellence looks like, because I get to witness it all the time. I associate myself with Black excellence and various people, but not enough people get to see Black excellence, and that's what needs to change. And when we start to do that, then other people will follow, more systems will embrace it, so that more children and other communities can be a part of the conversation.
Miriam?
I would say actively amplifying, Black voices, supporting Black-owned businesses, and basically advocating for, policies that promote equality and, justice. And also, I would also say, identifying and actually highlighting and understanding, Blackness in different forms. Like, for instance, being able to understand that, Blackness is not just, we're not just, so as Africans, we're diverse. So, for instance, they're Afro-Latinas, and then they're also African Americans. Just identifying how diverse we can be as Black people.
And within the Black community, 100%.
Yes.
We're all from, and that's something that I think as a community and as Black people, we need to start talking more about, is that we put Black people in one box.
Yeah.
And we're not in one box. And we're everywhere in the world. We speak different languages. We have different religion. We come in different trade. We have different skin color. And I think within our community, we need to start talking openly that being African, East African, and where you're from, Miriam, example, we're totally different part of Africa. And I think we need to learn to teach other people, most likely, that we're not just from everyone. People say, oh, you're from Africa. We put everybody in the same box. And I think we need to teach that we have the most beautiful, diverse culture and languages and food. And I think that's start from us teaching and openly that we are beautiful, and and one of the things Michael said is inviting more people who look like us in our community and helping and paving the path for the next generation. Absolutely. And as a parent, that's one of my main things to do in life, is that I have two amazing Black boys I'm raising, and the world, they have to be ready for it. And to show the beauty of it and the ugly side of the history. I think in our society, we're trying to run away from the truth of our history. And I think we have to be truthful that if we're going somewhere, we have to talk about our history. It may not be beautiful for certain people, and it's not comfortable to speak up, but we have to. And that's one of the questions that I wanted to ask next is, all of us are from different field. How do you guys feel in your field? How is it you guys open the door for the next generation? Michael, start a little bit.
And before Michael gets into that, we're going to take a quick break. But we're going to start with you when we come right back. Don't go, everybody. Tell everybody where we are. We're live. And if you have questions, this is the opportunity right now. Put it in the chat. We'll put it on the screen. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Immigrant Women in Business, IWB, is a non-profit organization bringing together women from over 50 different countries around the globe. These women have now made Canada their home and share a common goal of providing value to their new sisters. Our motto of "We are stronger together" resonates with all members, and with a diverse membership of business leaders, entrepreneurs and community builders, our goal is to make Canada better and provide guidance and leadership to those that follow.
CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com.
Yeah.
Yes. We are back live, and I see the comments coming in. So we're going to get the comments and put them on the screen. So, Michael, before we went to the break, it's all yours.
What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I know you talked about opening the doors for the next generation.
Yes.
In your field, how did people or the environment welcomed you in this field? Mental health is not something that, as a Black community, we talk a lot, even though we're starting to. So I just wanted to put you in your field. How do you feel talking about Black mental health in Black community?
It's definitely a challenge. I think that as we know and as more people talk about it, we understand that mental health obviously is every single person on the planet has been affected by mental health to some degree, but the reality is the openness. And I think that there's many, to answer your question specifically, when it comes to mental health within the community, it's a new conversation. It's actually creating new spaces where we have more therapy. We have people to actually allow themselves to speak out and be heard, because that's one of the things that has been very much used against the Black community, is being shunned or not necessarily allowing them to speak. So, that's the first step, and how we are being seen, how we are being heard in society. We definitely need much more opportunity so that people can see what we offer to our economy and community.
And just to follow up, because it's something very dear to me, mental health, and I'm noticing that we're having more doctors, more therapists that looks like us.
Yes.
And that matters again, because we need people to talk who understand where we're coming from. And that's something that I'm encouraging people to be open and seek therapists who look like us.
And absolutely. And Abby, just to also say that I think that in many ways, we as a community, because we haven't necessarily been, we've never had an opportunity to really get the opportunity to become the therapist or to become the doctors. We don't necessarily see enough of it. So now that the doors are opening and there's more awareness, where things are starting to change. So I'm just happy to say that in the field that I'm in, things are progressing, and it's great. Slow, but it's changing.
I'm gonna go to the same idea to Dr. Morris. How do you feel has been in your field, how people welcomed you, and how impact in the community you had?
Well, I must thank God that I have been making inroads, right, in my community, in NGOs and charities that I do work with. I try to make sure that our Black BIPOC population are not left behind. Right? And so everything that I do, even my workshops for parents, my workshops for leaders, managers, you name it, all right? I do a lot of research in order to bring to those NGOs and charities that are building communities information on our Black legacy that we are building, all right? It didn't start with Martin Luther King.
No.
All right. Right now, we have to look at what our Black or Afrocentric people have contributed to the development of this world. All right. Beginning from slavery and onwards. All right. And our Black children in our communities ought to learn this and understand the Black inventors and, all those people in science and technology that we are ignoring and that we need to bring to the table right now in educating them, that the legacy started already.
Way
And we
before
need
we
to build them and educate them. All right. So we do that research and we expose it to parents and NGOs because they are in the community and they are, facing children and youth and, that sort of thing. So I would love to see that collective voice in educating at the community level.
start from us, start from us,
Yes,
our children, start from us.
that's
That we
right.
come from excellence background. We've come from a history that I think we don't have that a lot to encourage our families and children and immigrant families to encourage that. Miriam, same idea, same question to you. In your field, do you feel that there's how do you give back the path to the community?
So I would say in my field, I mean, since I've been back here, I think I wouldn't call it racism, but I think that when I say what I do, my background is in marketing, as in people look at me and they're like, she doesn't know what she's saying, or they tend to not really even understand what that is. I think a way that, that kind of stereotype can be broken is by showing them what we're capable of doing, by highlighting our achievements, resilience, and our contribution, and basically by showing them. So I recently launched a network as a Toronto Growth and Grind network in the part of Toronto that I stay. I stay in the North York part, and my goal is to use that network to basically show the people in the community that Black people are we're professionals in what we do. We're very resilient individuals, and just so basically use it to educate people and use it to empower people, showcase what we're good at and what we're capable of doing.
That's fantastic. Now here, I have some comments coming in and they have a question. So I'm going to pop this one on the screen. So I think this is very interesting and I'm going to pop this up on right now. And actually, I'm going to throw it to Abby. You've been asking questions. So I'm going to throw this to you first.
Go ahead.
Everybody can answer after. So I think it's a easy question for people that are working 9 to 5. And here's the question. What are some actions we can take for organizations to foster more inclusive in society? Like what can we do to help companies and say, hey, this is what we want to do. This is how we're feeling. How can we start? Like
we have the power, and I'm going to speak to one specific field example, like my beauty industry and the styling. We need to understand that if the company or the 9 to 5 people, the company doesn't represent us, we have the power to stop buying. We have so much power on our money that we don't, as a Black community, we don't understand that. When we say the past, since COVID, Black history, or let's support Black owned, small Black owned, it's not a fashion. It has to be a lifestyle for us. And I think we need to teach our community that we have the power to say, you know what? If you don't represent us, you don't hire people who look like us, you don't cultivate our people, we're going to remove ourselves, because our money is the power. Our voting is the power. And I think we need to come in a way that the word of we don't have a choice. And I think I'm hearing a lot of people say, it's the way life is. No, it's not. We can do better. We have the power to say, you know what? I'm removing myself. You don't represent us. And I think that's something that I'm very passionate. And that's why I work on my own, myself, because
you're the boss. You do
what you do. Michael, you do next.
Michael, what do you think?
No, I think it's about taking action. I think it's about holding some of these leaders accountable and being able to say that if you really want to see the changes within organizations, you just start hiring people that look if it's not about the mission statement, it's not about the illusion, it's about actually looking at who are the people that you're bringing to organizations and bringing more leadership in there that look different, so that if we're talking about inclusivity, it take the action to make it happen. So I think it's all about, put your money where your mouth is, right? Like that, right? Just like let's go, take the action, folks.
I would say it's using our voice. I've been in certain situations where certain things are happening in organizations and we just keep quiet about it. We're usually tagged as the minority, and we usually say, oh, if I say something, I don't want to be the person that the
rock the boat.
put on. Yeah. But our voice is very strong. So in situations like that, we definitely always need to stand out, speak out, and while doing that, we're actually paving the way for the next person.
Yes.
So we definitely always have to use our voice.
And the truth is, we work hard 3-4 times more than the next person. So when we get to a job, to something, we have to be perfect. We have no error chances to make a mistake. Dr. Morris will be next.
Hold on. Before she answers that question, I'm going to add something to what you said before Dr. Morris adds it, because I think she's done this before. You guys said rock the boat.
Yeah.
And for me, if you don't rock the boat just stands in the same spot in the water. We don't go forward or backwards. So I'm looking at you, Dr. Morris, because I know you probably rocked some boats back in the day. So, tell us about it.
This is interesting because I wanted to say something about Rosa Parks. I admire that woman with guts because she did not wait to change a practice. She stepped out. It takes one to change a world. And look at what we are living today because she stood out. And she's one of those heroines that I admire. And when I speak with our women, I'm saying, look at her. All right. You women are nurturers and socializing agents of that child you bring into the world. All right. You can't wait to let people tell you what to do. Be like Rosa Parks. Stand out. I want my children to be educated this way. All right. And I'm going to take a lead role. I admire that woman. And I am looking for many women in this organization or space called Canada. All right. Where we look at United Nations women. All right. I am one of the 34 women recognized by the United Nations Women as expert trainer and researcher in domestic violence against women and girls. All right. And I am doing something about it by educating our women that they are women of power, influence, and divine favor. They have that from time immemorial. But you know what? We allow others to disempower us. No more. I declare. And look at these beautiful women in front of me. We are standing out, and we want the men in this audience and outside there to stand with us. He for she. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Because within our community, that is how we are going to make a change. All right? We are going to make that change.
I can tell you right now, the listeners, if they weren't, they're going to do it now.
No, they better start now. Look at us. We are gathering them. All right.
So here, let me throw it back. I'm going to make this a little fun because I want to see where you guys are all coming from.
Okay.
Think back when you guys were younger. Do you remember and give us your explanation of your first Black History Month? Do you remember in school? Like what did they give you? Like what was Black History Month for you when you were a child growing up? What was your first one? Do you guys remember? What did they do?
I do.
You remember your first one?
I grew up in Europe. There was
Okay.
none. So let's put it out there. There was nothing there.
Okay.
In Paris. So I speak French. I came to this country and I went to a specific French school. And at the time we came to this country, 1990, 91, there was a huge immigration of East Africa, Somalian, Ethiopian coming to Toronto. And I remember me with my big mouth as a young, because I grew up with a very long lineage of women who were strong. And I went to the school and I learned about Black History Month, and there was nothing. And I will meet little African girl coming to this country, went to the principal and said, we need to do something about it. And that was the first time that I realized that my voice meant something, mattered. And the whole school, we did a food, cultural food expo for lunch for everybody in the school. So every person who was Black in the school made food. And we did that for the first year, 1991, I remember.
Wow.
Michael, what about you? I see you're thinking.
I'm thinking because you guys, this is actually sad, but I never had a Black History Month. So the school that I went to that was predominantly white, I never had one. And until I moved to the United States is when I mean, obviously in the States, it was a very different experience. But when I in Montreal, at the school that I went to, unfortunately, I didn't have a Black History Month. And so I created my own version of that. Like I would come in wearing Afrocentric colors and just do my own version of Black History Month, but there was never a celebration. So I can't. So yeah.
Marianne, what about you?
Is it me?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I grew up in Nigeria and of course Africa. So we don't have any specific months for Black History Month, but I do know that we have Cultural Day. And then with Cultural Day, we're able to dress as the different parts of the country that we're from. For those that don't know about Nigeria, where it's divided into three. It's not divided. We have three ethnic groups. There's the Yoruba, the Hausa, and the Igbos. And we're such a cultural, continent. Beautiful colors, lovely culture. So we're able to just celebrate that on those cultural days to just to remember our history and our past leaders, So yeah, that's what I remember of anything that has to do with that.
Doctor, I see you smiling away there. What
Yes.
what do you remember? The first one.
I'll tell you what I remember.
Okay.
Right? Until I came here, I never thought about Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Jamaica as a Jamaican, and we're a proud nation. From independence, we celebrate every year our heroes and heroines in a national festival that pervades all of Jamaica primary and secondary education, where we put ourselves out in drama, poem, painting, whatever. And we celebrated our leaders, right? Our heroes, right? Every day. We have Marcus Garvey. We have Alexander Bustamante, Kwame, a lot of these. And we as children must know our heroes. And that grew beyond that into our sports heroes, all right? People who celebrate music like Bob Marley, all right? These icons are celebrated in our culture. So we can't forget. We could never, ever forget, because it's part of living as a Jamaican child and youth that we have to know our heroes. And our nanny, right, which is one hero, one heroine, right, of the Maroons, all right? And you can't be a Jamaican child and not know all these heroes and heroines and, the history and culture of our people. It was very clear to us, all right? And that's why up to a day like today, you go to Jamaica and you see who we celebrate. All right. Our icons. All right. Our sports hero, Donald Quarry, for example, Usain Bolt. All right. Not to mention the music, our dearly beloved Bob Marley, that icon. So we celebrate our Black heroes and heroines all the time.
I think that goes back to what you were saying, Abby, about Canadian heroes. You gotta think about Canadian heroes all the time. If you mention it, it should just come like this. It should just come like this instead of the same thing over and over again. So real quick, because time is ticking on us, the ultimate, I'm going to say this right here, and you can only put in two things. So don't make it long. The ultimate Black History Month, what would you want to see in the month? Like if you could design the month and you could say, okay, it has to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. Give us two things. I'll give you guys a second. What would the ultimate month be? For me, it's something I've always said, and Abby said it, Canadian Black heroes. Like first thing, like you said, when you think of Black history, first thing is Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, blah, 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 which is fantastic, but I'm Canadian. So I want to know is if I yell at a kid and say, give me two heroes real quick, the Canadians come up first because they're in Canada. And then, you have all your other heroes. So that would be for me that we got to drill some more Canadian heroes in our children.
Yes.
For me, to teach to teach ourselves and our children to love ourselves, that we matter. Like to me, it's that there's growing up in Paris and growing up in Europe, even being African, I was just a Black person. There's like Marian said, we're just Black. There's nothing. So for me, it's educating, having this beautiful science, math, like you said, history, but showing the impact we as a Black people for the country. And I think, and it's just not the country again, we Canadian, great to show the Canadian side. I didn't know St. John, there was a whole immigration of Black people. And for me to educate myself at 44, to learn about my own people, my own heritage, is incredible to be a Canadian. So for me to teach, to show the Canadian, including our children, how beautiful our history is and what science, math, sports, because we know one item, sports and music, or showing the whole thing. I think to me is like, ooh, it just gives me goosebumps.
Anybody, go ahead.
Okay.
I think she's right. And I think when we look at Black history, the February, right, it should be a culmination celebration, all right, that starts for the entire year, where we identify people doing amazing things for others in the community, all right? And then we celebrate this, right, in the month of February, where we culminate with awards, right, that we have been tracking our children and youth and communities, what they are doing, so that we mark this month of February with the final celebration, right, where we give awards and identify community development leaders that are making a change. So it's no longer the same old name and same old story again and again and again and again. All right? We need to change this celebratory month.
100%. Mariam, what do you think?
For me, I would say it's creating more opportunities for, Black people. I mean, what this will do is it will help empower others to dismantle discrimination and basically create a society where everyone can strive.
Michael?
Yeah, I think for me, it's about coming together. If I were to paint Black History Month, it's about how are these businesses, leaders coming together so that we can truly celebrate each other, right? Like that is everything. If we celebrate each other, others will celebrate us as well.
All right, I have to jump on his bandwagon right now, because as an event planner, I just love what you said. Because we do so many, because it's a short month. Every organization wants to do so much, and everybody's pulling different way. But just imagine if every organization, every company comes together and says, what Doctor said, we're all going to come together as a collective and put on the biggest show anybody's ever seen. Think about it. If everybody just says, okay, I'm not going to do my event this week, but we're all going to come together as a collective and put on one show that shows a little bit of everything that Abby said, give everybody opportunities, put all the... All right, I just got goosebumps right there.
You just gave me something to think about right now because Michael knows me, and now I'm gonna write things because I'm just like.
But it's true. It's how we show up. It's how we show up.
That's how you show up.
Yeah.
Charles, it's funny you mentioned that because here in my community in North York, which is one of the reasons why I was starting this network, I was actually reaching out to the local MPs and asking what they're doing for Black History Month. Because I couldn't find any. I had to go out to the other cities, Brampton and downtown, to Black History Month.
I moved to Keswick. I live in Keswick right now, and trust me, when I moved here, there was no Black people. So I had to go meet with the mayor. I had to meet with. There's a beautiful woman who lives here as a Black person who's been before me opening the doors. So we need to take initiative. Nobody's gonna come and save us. Nobody. So we have to save each other.
All right. Time's ticking, but I'm going to throw this out real quick. All right. And the question is real simple. And give me that one powerful word. What does Black history mean to you? And then I'm going to start. Abby, one word. Love. Okay, doctor?
Power and influence.
There you go.
Miriam? Culture.
Power.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our time. We thank everybody for joining us. But before we go, tell everybody real quick where they can find each other on social media and what they're doing. We're going to start with Michael and then roll it across. Go ahead.
Okay, you can just check me out. You can go to my website, michaelchallenger.com, or you can go to the Health and Wellness Agency, optimallivingsummit.com.
Okay.
Miriam.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. This is miriambalogun.com. And you can also check out my brand management company, Power Up Your Brand Consulting, to get more information about the Toronto Growth and Grind Network coming up.
Dr. Morris.
And Ontario College for Development Training and Inspiring Life Solutions. They're all there. Just search for the name Dr. Marilyn Morris. Okay.
And me, Jama Face Beauty, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all my information is there. And yeah.
All right. Listen, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And like I always say, you didn't have to watch, you didn't have to listen, but I'm so glad you did. Tell a friend, call them up, watch the replay, because you're going to learn a lot. And how do we learn? We teach one, learn one from each other. So take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.